person. His name is Jim Wetherbee. He is the only American astronaut to have commenced 5 missions to space, the only one, and only person to have landed space shuttle 5 times. Jim, hello, I'm happy to see you. Good morning. Thank you so much.
Nice to be with you.
I want to show your space shuttle to our audience. I want them to know what you were riding as a bicycle or whatever. So you are a big hero for me, because I think the man who can do it is definitely strong in my mind. And my first question to you is, while you were traveling up to the space, I read that when you were going out, you were connected to some Russian astronaut. You were tied to him. Is it so?
Yes.
Is it like that or no?
Yes, yeah? I flew with, at that time, Colonel Titov.
Titov, wow, he's a great person.
Volodya Titov.
Volodya Titov.
Vladimir Georgievich Titov.
Vladimir Georgievich.
And he was wonderful.
Wonderful to know that. So my question to you is, when you are connected to somebody and you go to space, it's not only your risk now, it's the risk of the other person. How to become like, you should become in a way like a whole machine. You cannot say this is your fault or my fault. You are connected together. And I think sometimes in business we are connected together. How to take this risk when you are connected with somebody?
So exactly, you are correct. And I'll try to frame my answer in a way that might be relevant to the companies to whom you are speaking. And so I'll start by saying that when Volodya first came to America, he didn't understand English very well. And my bosses, my managers came to me and they said, since you're going to fly with him, be very careful because he doesn't understand English very well. But I'll tell you, Olga, the very first time he and I flew in the simulator together for practice, I recognized that we were going to get along very well. And we were, as you say, we were going to be very well connected because he spoke the language of pilot. So if you understand the business, you don't really need to understand the language very well, because there's a language that pilots speak. So he didn't understand English very well, but I could tell he was going to be flawless in the simulator and in the real flight, because he understood the brain processes that we use when we're flying together. He was an operator, and he very professional operator, and he understood the business of flying in space. And so we could accommodate any language challenges because he understood what was required to be safe and to be operational and to operate with high excellence. So I found
that is wonderful. That is wonderful to know. So in a way, you were sure of him, even there was some language barrier, but you knew that you are partners. You can rely on each other.
Exactly. And that's what I found over the years, is that we have much more similarities, even though we come from different cultures, different countries with different language. But I have more in common with a Russian pilot than I do with an American doctor or an American manager or an American engineer, because those are different fields. The field of being a pilot is identical no matter which country you're in. So I had much more in common, and I could communicate with Volodya very well because he's a pilot.
That is great to know. Jim, I'm interested. For me, it's a frightening machine, this space shuttle. If you tell me, Olga, give me your nightmare, I will tell you my nightmare is that I need to go to this shuttle and fly up. Because at the end of the days, we are not sure 100% that we are going to come back, because a lot of things might happen. And you were saying in one of the interviews that you need to put your fear down by using some techniques and some things when you're getting ready for the flight. How you did it? What did you do with yourself night before you need to go up into the space, especially first time?
Yes. So this is something that I think also can help your viewers in the corporate world. It's a technique that we learn over the years, and it's an ability to focus, to mentally stay very focused on the operational task at hand. So let me give you a quick story. Most of the time when we are astronauts, the job is fun, it's exciting. There's no better feeling on the planet when you're flying a vehicle or in space. I mean, it's just a great job. It's exciting and it's wonderful. But occasionally there are times where you have moments of clarity where suddenly you realize, oh man, maybe I'm in too deep. One of those moments is the night before, for me, my first launch attempt. So when my head hit the pillow and I intended to go to sleep, and you really need to get a good night's sleep to be able to perform well the next morning as you climb on top of that rocket with 4.5 million pounds of explosive energy. And I thought to myself, for the first time since I had been an astronaut, I've just now run out of time to get any smarter, and it's too late to quit. So the magnitude of the problem was beginning to sink in. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to have to climb on this rocket. What if I make a mistake? What if we die? Those kinds of thoughts come into your mind. And I had to reconcile that. My first thought came very quickly. I thought to myself, this is the only thing I've ever wanted to do since I was 10 years old. Helpful, but insufficient, because I could still die tomorrow. And that's not what I wanted to do since I was 10 years old. So I had to think a little more deeply. And it occurred to me, and this is finally, I'm getting to the point that I think can help people in the companies down here on the planet. I finally realized tomorrow morning when I climb on that rocket, if bad things start happening, if the vehicle starts coming apart, if the evil gods of death and destruction conspire to take me down, I'm going to spend my last seconds trying to save in priority order the crew, the vehicle, and the mission. Essentially, I was taking myself out of the equation. It doesn't matter what happens to me. If I can save my crew, I've done my job and I can die happy. If I can save the vehicle, great, or the systems, we can complete the mission another day. Or thirdly, if I can complete the mission, best of all worlds. But the point is, it's not about ourselves when we're doing work. It's always about our teammates and our buddies and the co-workers who are working with me. I always think of that when I'm doing anything down here on the planet. It's all about my coworkers and the other people. If I can put them first, then I likely will make better decisions and save the day. And that helped me to go to sleep calmly, knowing that it doesn't matter what happens to me, but I'm going to do my best to try to save the other people.
You see, Jim, I told you that you're a hero, definitely. You see, you even you didn't think about your life that moment, because others people will think, wow, how I should save myself. You were thinking co-workers, your team, your vehicle, and your mission. You see, you even didn't think how
Yes.
I'm going to survive, you see?
Yes, and there's one other thing that helps, and this is common with I've spoken with other athletes who have played in the Super Bowl or World Series, or musicians who have played in front of 85,000 people. One of my friends is the drummer for Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. And he and I have had long conversations, Max Weinberg is his name, about what it's like to play in front of 85,000 people. And it's the same thing when you climb on a rocket to launch into space. You focus on the present. You don't worry about what is going to happen, even as far as 10 seconds in the future. That doesn't matter. That hasn't come yet. The future never comes until much later. what you do is you focus on the present, you stay in the here and the now. That gives you the ability to see everything, hear everything, feel everything. And it's kind of a Zen thing where you get so totally focused on the job and the mission that you have this incredible clarity where you see everything, hear everything, feel everything, listen to the voice of the crew members, and you respond correctly. It's just a wonderful feeling. Took me 14 years to develop that ability to focus on the present, but it gives you huge confidence when you eliminate all distractions or any thoughts of dying or anything else that's extraneous, and you focus only on the operational task at hand. It's just a wonderful feeling. It gives you supreme confidence that you can do anything.
Isn't it the feeling why astronauts from USA or from Russia or from Soviet Union, that all of them are very calm? Whenever I talk to Russian astronauts, it was long ago, I noticed that they're very calm. You know, artistic people with whom I'm shooting movie, most of them, they're extroverts and they are, you know, they're very excited about something there. But astronauts, in a way, they are calm, and next to them, you feel that everything will be good.
I think that's true. And it really helps in the business of being an astronaut. Now that I'm in the second or third part of my career where I try to explain these concepts to people, when I review videotapes of myself, I always seem like I'm way too calm, and I need to be a little bit more excitable and animated. And so I purposely try to elevate my emotions when I'm giving a speech to try to convey a message to the audience. But you really, when you're on top of a rocket, you really want to be calm, and it really helps if you can not
It goes
be
without
excitable.
saying.
So I think you're right.
It goes without saying. I know that your brother, he is a golf pro, isn't it?
Yes, true.
And it's completely different from being astronaut. How your family and people around, they were not surprised that you choose such a risky profession? And you said that from 10 years old, you were ready to drive some vehicle. Did you know that this vehicle will be not bicycle, but rocket?
Yes, I think, when you're a young child of 10 years old, you have this naive impression of the world. And I just knew I was going to be an astronaut. As I grew older, I realized not much chance of being able to do that. Too many people want to do it, too few opportunities. But I never really discounted the thought. I always continued to take the next step in my education and the next step in my professional life to achieve that goal. But yes, when I was young, I just knew that I was going to do. I feel very fortunate that I was able to fulfill my dream. I do think, again, it's similar to being a golf pro. Maybe there's no physical risk when you're playing golf, but you still must have the mental discipline to stay focused on the present. You can't worry about the final score when you must concentrate on hitting the ball here and now. We call it be here now. And it's a very powerful concept. If you can stay focused and in the present and develop that, as you explained it, that calm demeanor, then you can achieve just about anything you want on the planet. And I think that will help people in the companies who are watching these videos.
That is wonderful to know. I know that my daughter is watching me from Dubai, and she was the champion of golf in Russia among juniors. And I think for her it will be also very interesting to know, as a professional golfer, how is that? It's very interesting, but there is a lot in common between American astronaut and Russian golf player, and I'm happy to know that. And my last question to you, what you will recommend, Jim, since you have that great experience of being calm, on being focused, on being at the present time, of not thinking about future, but thinking about the problem that you need to solve right now, that we can use in business and life, and maybe even in relationships. What you will recommend to people who are hidden, who are hidden heroes, who will say, oh, I'm afraid to be that strong as Jim because now it's COVID, because it's different time, because the relationship between Russia and USA maybe not the best. Better I will be behind. I will not go to the rocket. I will better sit on the sofa. But I want to be astronaut like Jim, just I'm afraid it's not my time. What you will recommend to these people?
So thank you for that question. This technique that we use of being in the present and being able to have the mental discipline to focus is one of 30 techniques that I wrote about in my book, Controlling Risk in a Dangerous World. And so we developed 30 different techniques to be successful, which I think readers would, or your viewers would find very interesting. It can help them, no matter what field they're in, to control the risk or control their environment and be successful at what they do. These are largely mental attitudes, which, most companies focus on rules, processes, procedures, which are mandatory. But operators, when they go to work in a dangerous world, or you do something like play golf, in addition to the rules, you must supplement the rules with mental techniques of operating excellence. And that's what I wrote about in the book, which is available in bookstores or Amazon. I hope people enjoy it.
Definitely. This topic is a very hot topic right now. Everybody wants to know how to control the risk and how to live in a changing life. And now my really last small question. What kind, out of the topic, what kind of women you like? As an astronaut, because you are definitely a hero and you're a very calm person, what kind of woman should be next to you? Is it also a hero who is in the space shuttle, or it should be somebody very calm and simple?
Well, so another interesting question. Thank you very much, Olga. I had the opportunity to fly with Eileen Collins on her first flight. She was the first woman pilot at NASA, and I flew with her on her first mission as my co-pilot. It was my third mission. And, being the first woman pilot comes with a huge amount of responsibility to be a great role model. And she did that job very well. But I'll tell you, Olga, she did not really care about being the first woman pilot. She simply cared mostly about being a good pilot. She just wanted to fly. It was in her heart. She just loved to fly. And that's what I loved about her, flying with her. She was a very nice person, was flawless on orbit, made no mistakes on orbit, which is rare. And again, she did the job very well as a role model, but she didn't care about being first. And I found that's a common similarity between anybody who's first to do anything. Neil Armstrong, I met him, the first person to walk on the moon. He didn't care about being first. He simply wanted to do the job well. I knew Sally Ride, the first American woman astronaut. She didn't care about being first. She was a good role model, but she just wanted to be an astronaut. And Eileen Collins. And I guarantee the first woman to walk on the surface of the moon will be a great role model, but she will mostly want to do the job well. So that's what I look for, is somebody who's very professional, who wants to do the job well and doesn't really care about being first.
That is wonderful. Jim, thank you so much for being with us. Stay young, because you are so many years in that field, and stay giving knowledge to other people and using this unique experience that you have to people, to companies, to families, to people who are maybe not very sure of themselves. Everything is possible. Thank you so much, Jim.